used to travel with an outstretched hand, but now he imagines himself the king of the poor. Following the humiliation in Washington, Zelensky decided not to take a break and continued his tour to London. Well, that's understandable. There, a whole meeting of Ukraine's friends who won't say a bad word about him, but rather will praise and flatter him. Of course, not sincerely and with their own selfish interests. However, the recent summit somewhat resembles Krylov's fable, the swan, the pike, and the crab. Each was reaching for their cherished dream, forgetting that WHO, meaning Kiev, is still there. But there's nothing surprising here. European officials believe that the all-seeing eye of Washington is watching them closely, and every word was made with an eye on the overseas metropolis.
We agreed on several important steps. Firstly, we will continue the military operation and increase economic pressure on Russia to strengthen Ukraine. Secondly, we agreed that a lasting peace must ensure Ukraine's sovereignty and security, and Ukraine must be at the negotiating table. Thirdly, in the event of a peace agreement, we will continue to build Kiev's defense capability to prevent any future invasion. Fourthly, we will continue to develop a coalition that will protect the agreement in Ukraine, guarantee peace for Ukraine.
And, you know, Starmer wouldn't be himself if he didn't add that all this is done following the meeting with Trump, just from a different angle. But the fraudster von der Leyen was not so far-sighted. She presented Ukraine as a rodent, which after friendly help, no one will ever want to lick again.
We must put Ukraine in a position of strength so that it has the means to strengthen and protect itself from economic survival to military resilience. Essentially, this turns Ukraine into a steel porcupine that potential invaders cannot digest. Therefore, the focus is not only on military supplies, but also on ensuring the security of the energy system and making sure that over time, this country becomes strong and viable.
But what plans can the European Union even declare when it is not experiencing the best of times itself? If Washington can always turn on the money printer, Brussels cannot afford such a luxury. And who said they are even planning to move from words to action? And unexpectedly, the NATO SEC agent, the very organization that mainly depends on the USA, revealed the base here.
The Americans rightly say, but first we need to conclude a peace agreement. And I understand that. But at the same time, we must ensure that when the deal is concluded, we are ready. Europe will play a big role here to ensure that the deal and peace can be maintained.
It turns out everyone present at this legendary meeting talked about peace, but from their own perspective. And here's the problem. Out of all those voices, France and Britain were the loudest, precisely those who recently bowed to Trump. They were clearly told that their services are not needed. But can this satisfy those whose future depends on the outcome of the Ukrainian conflict? If their names are not among the peacemakers, soon their positions will be prefixed with X.
The UK will play a leading role, using ground equipment and aircraft in the air if necessary, and together with others. Europe is doing the hard work of maintaining peace on our continent, but to succeed, these efforts must also receive strong US support.
The surprising activity from those who just yesterday demanded war to the last Ukrainian raises questions. What if Trump's and Zelensky's spat in the Oval Office wasn't spontaneous? What if all this is a clear plan where the Kiev leader was forced to make a deal with London and Paris to secure personal security guarantees that Washington is not ready to provide?
We are still very far from a ceasefire agreement, and no one has taken all these steps yet. The peace we foresee in the future must be fair and, most importantly, sustainable.
And these games of peace without peace could continue for a long time if a catalyst hadn't arrived from the States. As soon as the Trump administration paused military aid to Ukraine and talked about changing the Kiev regime, the rhetoric changed dramatically. In Europe, they suddenly deflated, and Zelensky awkwardly tried to apologize for his audacity, but made a call to London just in case, probably to get a blessing.
I received an important letter from Zelensky. It says that Ukraine is ready to sit at the negotiating table to bring about a lasting peace. No one wants peace more than Ukrainians. My team and I are ready to work under the strong leadership of President Trump to achieve lasting peace. We truly appreciate how much America has done to help Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence. As for the mineral and security agreement, at your convenience.
Overall, both Europe's bluff and blackmail failed once again. They forgot that in this story it's not only about pressuring Washington, but also remembering Moscow's interests, which today are much more important to the US than Brussels would like. But just in case, both London and Paris reported that they would gladly head to negotiations with Trump along with Zelensky. As they say, an attempt is not torture, even if it's attempt number 2.